After I released my video on selling, somebody put a message in my inbox and they listed what they believed to be were all of the key points of that message. Now, when I was reading over these key points, I came to the realization that I left something out that was absolutely critical. And the reason why I think it's critical is because all of us have given into the temptation that whenever we see somebody performing exceedingly well in an area that we also want to perform exceedingly well, we try to assess what it is that attributes to their performance by examining what they're doing. Now, there's nothing wrong with this because what we do contributes greatly to the results we produce or fail to produce. However, in our zeal to examine what someone is doing, we fail to look at who they're being. And who we're being is equally, or if not in some cases, far more influential on the results we produce than what we're actually doing. And that's because whatever occurs in our inner world leaks out into our outer world through subtle little things such as micro-expressions. Back in the 1980s, Giacomo Rizzolatti and Associates accidentally stumbled upon one of the most important discoveries of the 20th century. They discovered mirror neurons in the F5 region of the premotor cortex of macaque monkeys. What they noticed is when they hooked up electrodes to the monkeys' heads, the monkeys were firing the same exact neural patterns when they reached for something like a peanut as when they were simply observing other animals or the researchers in the room reaching for some type of food, whether the monkey was moving or not. And that was our first glimpse into how human beings have empathy, how one human being can imaginatively step into the experience, the emotional state of another human being, even if they're not going through the same thing. And empathy is one of the most powerful prerequisites of relating and connecting with any other human being. So I think that's really important because it's impossible for what we're feeling to not have an effect on somebody else. Let's rewind even further, back to the 1950s. Psychologist Jerome Frank does this experiment where he took a look at different types of therapies in order to ascertain which therapy had the greatest degree of efficacy or effect on its patients. But what he surprisingly found out, and this was pretty disturbing to a lot of people in the psychology community, was there was no difference in effect. All of the therapies, regardless of their differences, were not better or worse. What the common ingredient that Jerome Frank found that had the most amount of impact on whether or not a patient would succeed or fail was the relationship between the therapist and the patient and the beliefs and expectations that were held. Not just the beliefs and expectations that were held by the patient about his or her ability to get better, but the level of expectancy the therapist had in the patient's ability to get better. So imagine this state of intention in your inner world, holding the space for every single person, whether it's a prospect, whether it's a consistent customer, that not only you can have what you truly want, but my belief is greater than your doubt. Think about holding that level of intention. This is critical because intention directs attention. And where attention goes, energy flows and results shows.